Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the. No, 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 no. Look at the top of his head. Look at his lips.
What's up, everybody? Just Cold here for the episode review for Boruto, episode 21. So, to kick it off, I'm going to be straight up with everyone right now. I'm not really feeling this episode too much, but as a recap, I'm going to tell you, what happened this episode, and later on I'll explain what I wasn't feeling with this episode exactly. So, we start the episode off with a recap from the previous two episodes, and after that, we get the intro scene. After the intro scene and the recap, we get a scene where we are at the hospital with Suzune and Sakura. She's explained to Sakura that, hey, Sakura went to go look for Sasuke with Naruto. And Sakura is just basically worried about her. After that scene, we are presented with Sasuke and Sakura, where he has his blade still drawn out to Sakura, asking, who she is. And she says, hey, Dad, it's me. And after that, Naruto comes busting in the door with Chocho, looking for Sakura, and Sasuke questions him like, hey, why'd you bring kids here? This is something serious. So Sakura asks, who's my mother? And it cuts to the scene back to Sakura and Shizune, where they're talking about, for some reason, I do not understand why, or maybe just, I don't know, it might be a mix-up, but Shizune knows that Sakura has the Sharingan somehow. I don't know how, but she knows that she has the Sharingan. That it may have been affected by her being, upset about Sasuke. With that, Sakura is, kind of worried about the whole her finding the old photo of him, and she's like, okay, I don't want her to find out about Sasuke's past. I don't want her to know that he was an enemy of the state. So after that, we get cut back to Sasuke and Sakura's kind of chewing him out about, him being quiet, him being secretive, and Sasuke just gives her a cold, hey, I basically don't need to tell you anything, you're not involved. Sakura storms out. Chocho puts her 2 cents in, and then in this scene as well, Naruto says, hey, you should basically have told her, why you can't come back to the village, why you've been missing. Sasuke proceeds to have this flashback about him and Naruto talking about there's a possible danger, a great danger on their way, and that he should stay in the village to protect them. This is how Naruto wanted. He wanted Sasuke and him to coexist as, protectors of the village, and Sasuke will do that, but he has to go to do it. It's better for him because his abilities. And like I said before, I'll put later on why I did not like this scene. This is one of the scenes I did not like as well, especially compared to the manga, but we'll address that later on though. So after that, we get a cut to Sakura leaving out, Naruto chasing after her. Chocho is kind of a comic relief, and she wants to talk to Sakura about her problems and comfort her as a friend, but she seems like she can't do it. She's like, okay, after this bag of chips, I'll do it. I'll talk to her. And when she opens the chips and starts to eat them, Naruto comes out of nowhere and starts comforting Sakura instead. Naruto basically tells her, hey, your dad's probably like one of the best shinobi around, and you should probably be proud of that. He's helping out. And after that, we get cut to back to the hospital where Sakura's missing. Not missing, but she, open window. Clearly she left. And after that, we get a cut to back to Shin, who is preparing the revival of the Akatsuki and is on his way to go attack. And so after that, we get a flashback to Chocho and Sasuke talking. And, she's trying to, comfort him as well for some reason. I don't really care for the Chocho scenes too much right now. I feel like this whole episode was a little awkward in terms of emotion and even animation, but this is one of the times I feel like it just didn't really fit. But we get back to Sakura and Naruto. She's saying that she wants to go find this girl in the picture with the glasses herself. She doesn't need Sasuke. She'll do everything on her own if that's the case, if he doesn't want to give her answers. So Naruto's like, hey, grabs her. I think you should talk to Sasuke one more time at least. And before any of that happens, we see Shin and his son teleport. They activate the Sharingan to start sending a bunch of blades to Sakura and Naruto. Naruto then proceeds to use the chakra cloak to block these blades from hitting both of them. He then begins to attack them. Sasuke shows up and he starts to combat both Shin and his son. He grabs his katana, charges towards them. Shin, the father Shin, grabs his katana, and then as he does that, the son Shin goes, out of the image a little bit and tries to ambush Sasuke basically. Sasuke then uses his Rinnegan to switch places with the son Shin and himself. After that, he's above them, decides to turn around, do a fireball jutsu, having like eyes all around him for some like gross reason, like on some Danzo stuff. He sees that and commands the younger Shin like telepathically to get behind him and take the blast instead. After returning to the ground, Shin gets up, introduces himself to Sasuke, and Sasuke says, that's all fine and well, but we're going to capture you. I don't care if you want to bring back to the Akatsuki. I don't care if you have a Sharingan for some reason. We're going to get information out you after we have this battle. Then it cuts to a scene where Naruto just has like this like shock look on his face that, something like bad just happened. And it cuts down a little bit more. You can see that there's Sasuke's sword into Naruto's like abdomen, like stomach area. So Shin's power is to control, weapons basically. He can send them off. He can like do whatever he wants with them basically. So he's the one who caused the sword to go into Naruto. With that being said, Naruto is like really hurt. His powers his chakra starting to disappear, which loosens the grip on Shin's blades that he originally threw at Naruto and Sadara. With Sadara and Sasuke caught off guard, Shin gets his blades back after the cloak disappeared from the chalk cloak disappeared, and sends the blades towards Sadara. Sasuke proceeds to go behind her and blocking it, and got impaled with a bunch of blades as well. At this point, we have our injured Sasuke, we have an injured Naruto, and Shin, I guess, again starts to take offense. As he's doing that, Sakura comes out of nowhere, basically like hit sticks him like it's like Madden 2018, and he falls to the ground. Being Sakura, this injured him a lot. She came through. Just imagine younger Sakura and her power. Now this is an older Sakura, full direct hit to Shin's gut. Sakura walks over to Naruto. He pulls the blade out, says, yes, I'll be fine. I'm gonna heal. The Nine Tails chakra can heal him. But she walks over, looks at Sasuke, then walks over, hugs Sadara, asks if she's okay. After that, she talks to Sasuke and says, hey, I'm so sorry that this happened. I'm sorry, we're in a situation with Sadara that she doesn't really know what's going on. Sasuke replies, no, it's my fault, it has nothing to do with you, basically. After that, we see that basically like Shin's, I guess, like, I don't know how to describe it, like this little like white Zetsu looking thing with Sharingan and teeth. For some reason, Shin doesn't have teeth either, but it walks behind Sadara and it says, hey, I'm going to take you then. So it uses his transportation jutsu to suck in Sadara and both Shins. After that, Sakura rushes and just basically just pushes Sadara out of the teleportation jutsu somehow and gets sucked in herself. Sadara tries to reach for Sakura's hand, couldn't do it, and Sakura is transported to Shin's lab where there's other Shin. There's about like 6 of them, I think, and they're holding blades to Sakura. And that's it for episode 21. Compared to the last episode, didn't cover too much. I think that part of chapter 5. Well, I think all of chapter 5 actually, and part of 6. It didn't get all of 6. My thoughts on this episode. I really didn't care for this episode, and here's why. First thing I wasn't feeling about this episode was how Shizune apparently knew that Sadara had the Sharingan. I'm not sure if we just thought this was the first time, or I just thought this was the first time that she unlocked her Sharingan, but for some reason Shizune knew. Shizune was nowhere near around when she had her Sharingan. Naruto wasn't around when she had her Sharingan, so it's like only person who saw the Sharingan was Sasuke. The second thing that I did not feel was when Naruto was talking to Sasuke about, hey, you should tell Sadara, why you're gone, and Sasuke proceeded to have this flashback with him and Naruto talking. I did not like this flashback because it was different from the manga, which I feel like was superior in like almost every sense. In the manga, we have Team 7, Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto, addressing the other cage about, the possible threat. I felt like even though, Kakashi wasn't there, this is Team 7 as full as, still cooperating each other. They didn't have to, be together. They chose to be friends. They, chose to like be a team still to this day. And I really like that scene. And I mean, while Sasuke and, Naruto bonding it's kind of, you know, it's fine. Like, I like it, but like the addition to Sakura, I felt like made it feel more like stable. Like, I really liked the scene, especially when they were addressing this to the whole world. Like, they're kind of like on this platform where Team 7 is like, you know, big, where they can like address Cage. The next thing I did not like, it just felt like this episode was really awkward. Like, animation was awkward at times, the vibes were awkward at times, emotion was awkward at times. Chocho coming in with her comedic relief sometimes just didn't feel for it. I didn't like it. And I don't know, animation, like there's certain things that stuck out. Usually I'm not big on, like, you know, attention to detail that much, but I just felt like the severity of things didn't match up with the animation. So like this first instance is like when Naruto got impaled with the sword, you can see he was in pain. He lost control of the chakra that he was controlling, and you know, this was protecting not only himself but Sasuke and Sakura. And at that point, he's like, oh man, something bad must happen. But when Sakura shows up, he's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is fine. Pulls the sword out like it's nothing. Facial expression was like, okay, yeah, just whatever. I can care less. It's not really too bad compared to what it was in the manga. And it's like, okay, man, I like, it wasn't lining up correct. The next thing, animation wise, was Sasuke got hit with like, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 blades, and you know, he was stabbed all up trying to protect Sakura. And part of that was like when he was actually getting hit, it looked really weird to me for some reason. I don't know why, but like it didn't seem genuine. And even after that, you go a few seconds later on, he's completely fine. Like, there's no blood marks, there's no like wounds, there's no anything in his like attire when Sakura shows up. It's like, you know, what happened? Like, usually it's weird. I don't pay attention to detail like that, but something just felt really off with this episode where I noticed things like that, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not. It's just I don't like it. I don't like it's a con. The one thing I do like different that they did from the manga was the fact that Shin tried to kidnap Sakura instead of Sakura originally. I know I really wasn't a fan of the whole like, hey, get out there, like, I can pull you out like a teleportation jutsu thing, but like it makes sense plot wise why they would rather have Sakura than Sakura, because at the end goal they wanted to take Sakura anyway. So, you know, kudos to them for doing that in the manga a little bit better, but just more cons than pros on this one. Overall, I'll probably give this episode 2 out of 5. I mean, wasn't a bad episode, just didn't. I feel like having such a great episode last week, and then this week was just really mediocre in terms of animation, continuity, all of that. I didn't like really care for it too much. So let me know how you guys felt about this episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Is there something that I missed that you didn't like or that you really love? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It will really help me out and you know, help my channel get growing. Like I said, I want to do anime from this channel on. I'll still keep my gaming stuff going on the other channel, but you know, I like anime as well. I'm gonna take a step into this and see how this goes. All right, well, thank you for stopping by. Really appreciate it, guys.